guys, welcome back to my channel. This is for people that's got wells and pumps and they don't know what to do when they're out of water, and I'm trying to make these videos to maybe help save somebody a little bit of money before calling a technician out to your place. I've probably been into well work in the past. Probably, I don't know, I probably got started when I was probably about 19 years old. I'm licensed in doing pump work. I help drillers drill a lot of wells. Got a lot of people back in water, and just wanted to let you guys know where to start. So if you come home and you're out of water, and if you don't live in the city, if you don't have city water, more than likely you've got some type of well. You either got a shallow well, deep well, hand dug well, some type of well. It could be anywhere between 3 or 4 feet down in water on a shallow well, depending on what it is, all the way up. I've pulled wells and pulled pumps out of wells, probably anywhere between 20 feet all the way up to 15 or 1600 feet deep. If you come home, or you're home, you wake up, you're out of water, you don't know what to do, you turn the water faucet on, you don't have no water, the first thing to do, it depends on if you want to check something or not. If you want to call a technician out, that's up to you. Like I said, don't just go by what I'm telling you, go by what you feel comfortable with. If you're not too big about checking electricity, or if you're afraid you're going to get shocked, or you're afraid you're going to do something, then by all means call a technician, let them come out and check and see what's going on. If you're worried about that, the first thing you need to do is, if you do want to call a technician, is just, if you find out you ain't got no water, first thing, go to your panel box and see if there's a breaker that's a double breaker that says either well pump, anything of that nature, and turn the breaker off. It's not going to shock you, just turn the breaker off. Number 2, turn your hot water heater off, because your water heater is full. If you try to use what hot water is in there and something happens, you're going to wind up burning a hot water heater up, because the elements are going to call for that element to heat up the water, and it's just going to sit there and it's going to burn up if you don't turn the power off to it. So turn the power off to your well, turn the power off to your hot water heater. After that, call somebody, call a pump installer, a well guy, somebody that can come out that has a license to work on your pump. If they're not licensed, I would not have somebody working on your well unless it's just your own well that you want to work on, because of a lot of liability and all kind of different stuff can go wrong. Trust me, if anything can go wrong on a well, it can. If you're trying to pull a pump by yourself, if it's a shallow pump, I'd say go for it. If you know kind of what you're doing. If it's deeper, I would not touch it, because if you drop a deep pump, you're liable not to get it back. You may be able to fish it out, but if it's too heavy, you need to call somebody that knows what they're doing. You may get that pump back, and you may not, depending on the situation. But if you do feel like you can work on wells a little bit, if you're out of water, this right here is called a pressure switch. It's on your pressure tank. Doesn't matter what size pressure tank you've got, you'll have one of these on it. And a lot of times people don't know what a pressure switch is. This is a pressure switch. This is a 4060 pressure switch. If you go to your tank, it could be under your crawl space, it could be at your well, and I'm gonna show you. I'll get further into depth in a lot of these videos. I'm trying to keep them a little bit simple right now, because of people don't know what you're talking about. But when you say a blue pressure tank and a pressure switch, they don't know what you're talking about until they actually see it. So this is a 4060 pressure switch. When you go out to the top of your well, a lot of times, depending on how long the well's been in, depending on how long the pump has been in, if you don't have no water and the power is still on to the pump, a lot of times you'll find points that open up and shut. These points is what makes contact when your pressure tank and the switch is calling for water. They're open. When they're all open, that means there's no power going to the well and there's no power going out to the pump, so your pump's not running. When your pressure tank goes down to a certain level, when you turn the water faucet on, then your points are going to call for water when the pressure tank reaches a certain point, and the points are going to kick in. If this is an old switch and you've had a pump for 15, 20 years, even 5 years, the longer these points kick in and out, sometimes these points get burnt. They'll get burnt on one side. They'll get burnt like in the middle or on the outside of them, on the very ends. And they may close, but then they may not want to open back up. And the points will start sticking. In other words, they won't open and close like they should. So that causes a power problem. It could also cause a problem where the pump keeps running all the time and it builds so much pressure that it blows something. Or they could actually get stuck open, and I'll talk about more about that. Or these could break off. If they open and shut so many times, they can break off and there will be no power at all going through one side of the switch. If the power's on it, what I would tell you to do, if you can get to this switch easy with the power on, the first thing I would tell you to do is take a pencil or a piece of wood, something that you're not going to get electrocuted with, not no pen, not nothing with a metal tip on it. Take that pen and touch the plastic part right here and push back on these points. Push back on them until the points open up. A lot of times if you see a spark, when you do that, that means you've pulled them apart and you've broke that connection that's been sticking them, and you let go of it. That gives you you'll start hearing water go back through the system. So when you push these points apart, if they've been stuck, if they've been burnt, and then see how they're open, if you let go of that and you see a spark and you hear water, the switch is probably your problem. So what you want to do is you'll have wires going in here. You'll have the power wires on the outside. You'll have the pump wires on the inside. That's the way that I've always hooked them up. Power wires on the outside, pump wires on the inside. And then what happens is you turn your breaker off to your pump, turn it completely off, open up water faucets, the cold water faucets, drain everything down. That way there's no pressure on this system. Take the wires out. You'll have a nipple on the bottom of the tank that holds this on. You take a 3/4 inch and put it on here, and after it's drained down and you have no water left on the system, you can twist this and turn it off with a 3/4 inch and take it off. Now you get a brand new switch right out of the box, 3050 or 4060, depending on the pressure tank size and all that, which I'll get into later. And you put the switch back on, put you some either Teflon tape around this or some, well, I call it pipe dope. Put pipe dope around this. Put your switch back on, tighten it back down as tight as you can tighten it back down, and hook it back up the same way that it came off. The power wires on the outside, the pump on the inside. Put your grounds back up, make sure everything's tight, flip the breaker back on. When you do this, you're going to hear water coming back into the system again. After you do that, it'll go up to 50 pound or 60 pound, whatever you've got it set at. If it's a 40-60, it should turn off on 60 pounds. Then you'll have a brand new switch on your system, and you'll see these points. Once it builds pressure, it'll kick out. And when it kicks out, you'll know that everything's good to go. What I will tell you is if you take this loose, if you're going to replace it, always check this nipple out. If this nipple gets stopped up, which most of them are made out of brass anymore, but if this nipple is stopped up, you're going to have to take this nipple out and replace it. If you can look down through that nipple, see that hole? If you can see through that hole and it's like that, you don't have a problem. But if you've got a well that's got iron in it and you hold this up to the light and you try to look through it and you don't see nothing, if it's stopped up, you need to get rid of this. You need to if you don't have one, you can take a little small rod or something or a screwdriver or something and clean this out and blow through it. If it's stopped up, change it. Change it to brass. Don't put another galvanized nipple on it, because if you've got iron in your well, this nipple is going to get stopped up every single time. And over the years, you may have to change this out a few different times or clean it out a few different times. But if you put brass on it, brass is not going to do it as bad. But like I said, you can look through this. Make sure that if you take the pressure switch off, check this before you put this on. That's a big major thing, because if you put a brand new switch on it and this is stopped up, it's not going to do you one bit of good. So that's just food for thought. If that helped anybody at all, let me know. Like I said, I'm going to go into more details on a lot of more videos. I'm doing this because it may save you $75 to $100 in a service call or repair. I'll show you a whole lot more things, but I'm trying to put these videos out there to see if I can help somebody and see where it goes. I hope you like this channel. I hope you subscribe to it. And, you know, if I can get somebody to comment below on if you've ever had problems with a well, what it costed, what you had to wind up doing to your well. Did you have to put a pump in? Did you have to change a pressure switch? Or if you didn't know what to do and you felt like you just got goofed by a real high bill. Because I'm telling you people, there's a lot of people out there that's honest, and there's a lot of people out there that's not. And they can get one over on you too, especially on the well and working on things, because if you have no clue what's going on, it can cost you a lot of money. I hope this video helps you out. God bless y'all, and I hope I see y'all again. Thank you.